Hello everybody, this is Louisa with Ellie Paper Studio, and today I have a tutorial and also share. So I'm going to start with the share, and then I'm going to go over how I created these shapes or these invitations. So I had done a DIY laser cut wedding invitation video some weeks ago. It's posted on my YouTube. You can look on my YouTube channel. And they were all, I gave a bunch of examples using white cover paper, so just regular white printer paper, just because I wanted to basically sample all the different doily creators that I had, sample the different embossing folders that I have, and just kind of get an idea to see if this would work for a DIY wedding invitation. And I really liked the results, so I decided to take it a step further. Also, just a quick note that these invitations will be available on my Etsy shop. If you're not a DIYer, or you're getting married and you don't want to have to think about your invitations, or you don't want to have to buy all the different material that it takes to make this, which is quite a bit of material that it takes, and just in general, if you are not a crafter and you just want to buy the invitation set on its own, it will be available on my Etsy shop as a suite and also as separate purchases. So here I have an invitation suite. So this is the main wedding invitation, the save the date, the information card, and the RSVP card. And I'll go over, I'll show you real quick how I created them, or actually what is involved with them. So I used kind of a mint green color, and I used the doily creator for this suite. For the next, for the one I'm going to be doing on camera, the DIY, I'm going to be using a different tool. But this one, I really like the colors. They're very very trendy. I've seen a lot of this on my Pinterest feed. So it's really in with the colors. I did not use any embossing folders. I left it as is because I kind of wanted to have one that was plain to gauge against one that was embossed. So then here's the invitation, and it has the same I'm using the same organza ribbon. And as you can see, it's a little bent right now because I didn't fully adhere it, and I just bent it to not have to undo the bow. But as you can see, it's a very beautiful, very intricate, a lot of detail, and the contrast of the mint against the white is really, really beautiful. I also added some glitter paper. I actually started with some darker glitter paper, and then I found this on my stash, which was a little lighter, and I really liked it a lot more than the darker silver glitter. And this is just all generic words, so it's not for an actual invitation, but it kind of gives you an idea. The other big important piece of this suite would be and I'm trying to do the same so not to undo the bow, would be the save the date. And the save the date is, so this is an A7 size, so 5 by 7. This is an A2 size, which is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And then very similar suite, very similar fonts used, and even the same kind of imagery. And this is just another example, and here you can see that the glitter, again, the glitter shines really well through it, and it's a really great addition. It looks really, really great. So then we have the RSVP card, which is actually an I want to say it's an A1 card. Or also called a 4-bar, and it's basically made for envelopes that are 3.5 by 5 inches. So, which is the smallest size envelope that the USPS will take. So for our RSVP, really, you only really need this little bit of space, and then it can be sent along. So in theory, this would all come in the same invitation packet. And then the information card, of course. The RSVP with the envelope, the actual invitation, and then the information card. And the information card actually, it looks small. It can be taller, it can be shorter. There's a lot of play with this size. And as you can see, it also has the same doily, very beautiful, intricate effect. And then you can also make the font smaller, which actually would help fit a lot more information. And then in addition, if if you want thank you notes in the same suite, I haven't created one in this color, but I will be doing one on camera. So anyway, these are the suite that I'm going to be doing on camera, but this time I'm going to be using a peach color with some gold glitter and some ivory. And I've already printed my text, as you can see it here. And it's exactly the same text. I didn't recreate the wheel, but of course, again, if you look on my Etsy shop, you will see that the text is completely customizable, and I can work with you very, very well with whatever fonts or any changes that you want to make. This is not set in stone. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this first piece, the text pieces, and this first text, because it's going into an A2 size, but then it's reduced by this glitter layer, it has to be reduced 1/2 inch. This is a tool that I'm going to be using for this invitation suite. I used this Martha Stewart doily punch. I'm actually going to be using this Martha Stewart circle edge punch to make these ones, just to make it a little different. By far, the doily punch is my favorite of all of them, is the most intricate of all of them, but this one's also very beautiful and elegant. I want to make sure that I'm set up at 7 inches and 7 inches for the main invitation. So I'll start with the main invitation, and you want to take your invitation and find the center point on the 7-inch side, which would be 3.5. And you want to do it on both sides. Next, you're going to align this with the center of the circle edge punch, or if you're using the doily punch, what I did with mine is that I actually made myself a tick mark on the actual tool so that I would know where the center was. So now you just punch. So since I punch first, really what you want to do is you actually want to score first, but I forgot to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and do that real quick. And you want to score a 2.5, and you want to flip and do a 2.5 again. That way you have a perfectly meeting in the middle assembly. And this paper is corrugated, it's not solid. It has a little bit of pattern. So it's really up to you if you want to use paper that is completely solid. I'm going to be embossing this paper, so you won't be able to notice that. And then you want to trim off your edges. And since I have my scoreboard out, I'm going to go ahead and score all the other pieces. And really, this is a piece that is 4 1/4 by 10 inches. You want to do the same. You want to score at 2 1/2, and then you want to flip and do 2 1/2 again. And that should give you another half mark. For this piece that is 8 1/2, you actually want to do it at 4 1/4. I'm sorry, that's incorrect. 2 1/8, and then flip it and do 2 1/8 again. And then these two don't need to get scored. So back to our main invitation. We're going to repeat the same process on this side. So I actually tied all these bows off camera. It's just a little bit easier for me. Sometimes they take me a while, but this is the finish suite, including a thank you card. I really, really like this. I think honestly, if I was getting if I had all of these tools back when I was getting married, I would have done my own wedding invitations. So as you can see, these ones are actually embossed. So these ones have a little bit more detail, and I'll walk you through them. This is a thank you one, and this room is probably not the most conducive because it's wired, but because it is wired, it stays well in place. This is a thank you note. I just put it there as a placeholder. Again, the real invitation, actually the design and everything would be whatever the person chooses it to be. But as you can see, that little detail on the gold is very, very striking. Then these are the RSVP and information cards. This information card actually ended up being shorter than this one. And again, this is where there's a lot of room to play. You can make it larger, you can make it taller. There's a lot of different things that can be done. And I made several oopsies, which you probably will see on camera. One of which is I attach on this one, I attach the card on the embossed side. And as you can see some of the remnants of fixing that oopsie, because really you want to see the embossed side this way, not the debossed side. But still, these information cards and these RSVP cards, this RSVP card is very striking in my opinion. And as you can see, it fits in an A1 or a 4-bar envelope perfectly. So they can include this and send it on. Also, this can be pre-printed with the bride and groom's name, or don't forget that you can always do an embossed folder flap or envelope flap, I'm sorry. And I will put pictures of what this looks like for the 5x7 in the ivory. And then of course the save the date as the A2 size card. This one I would change some of the dimensions just because, as you can see, it got a little bit cut off. But for sample purposes, I think this will do just fine. And again, it has that beautiful detail of the embossing, and then the save the date in it. And then lastly, of course, the main event, which is the wedding invitation itself. And as you can see, it's just the same invitation. It just has, it was printed on ivory, and then it would have the information. That's another option, is that because all of this will go in the original invitation, you can stuff this inside of it, or you can put it over top as such. So this is the wedding invitation suite that I created. I hope you enjoyed this. I'm going to bring them all back in camera to kind of give you an idea of what you can create. I hope this gives you lots of ideas on how to make your own wedding invitations and how to make striking wedding invitations with just some tools at home. But again, if you're not a DIY or crafter, I'd be happy to help you with that. You can go to my Etsy shop, which is LEP Studio. And of course, the type of paper and the colors and the type of printing, these are all prototypes. I did actually end up printing on real cardstock, but for weddings, I actually go to the next level of paper, which is normally a thicker poundage, better quality, and then it also has a different color assortment, sometimes larger, sometimes it's a little bit more limited depending on the type of paper that you are looking for. So I hope you enjoy this, and I hope this inspires you.